Blackpool, the Tower, the Golden Mile, the piers, the promenade. We used to come here a lot when I was a kid, and we weren't allowed to eat our sandwiches, and so we could see the Tower. But my favourite bit was always the beach. We used to go down on there, all of us with a dog, throw a frisbee, play a bit of beach cricket, a bit of football. And even as a kid, I always used to think, how great would it be to ride my rally chopper along the beach?
Well, I've outgrown the rally chopper, and now what I want to do is ride a motorcycle on the beach with about 100 other riders. This will be a race on the beach for bikes, a bike beach race. To put on a beach race, you first have to ask the council for a permit, and I met with Mike Chadwick from Blackpool Council. He seemed really up for the idea, and after a couple of cappuccinos, we did ourselves a deal. So they agreed to let us have a bike race on the beach. With over 6 miles of golden sand, Blackpool is ideal for a bike beach race. Our course will be roughly 3 miles long. Starting just before North Pier, riders set off along a short straight and then go right underneath the pier. A fast straight as they approach North Pier. Under North Pier, a bike round to the start-finish line. It's challenging and it's very, very fast.
Right, it's the day of the race, and what a beautiful day it is. The sun is shining. It's a little brisk, there's quite a bit of wind. Everyone's here, but we can't do anything yet because the tide's still in. We've got to wait for it to go out and then we can get cracking on the course.
Setting up this event has been a mammoth task. Not just for me, but for the guys who did the real work at Wirral Off-Road.
The behind-the-scenes work that's gone into this event, it's just beyond belief. Meetings with the council of health and safety, they're checking all our paperwork, you know, if a bike hits a member of the public, we're in trouble. So everything has been done so thoroughly. But to be fair to Blackpool Council, they haven't shut any doors. They've been really keen to get this event up and running again. You're not allowed a motorised vehicle on the beach at Blackpool at all. So this is a real privilege for us to be able to come down and play on the beach.
But perhaps this was not the best time of year to do this anyway.
The problem with the date and the time of year is people have got their new bikes and they don't want to take them onto the beach because of the myth that the sand damages the bikes. It can do if you don't look after the bike afterwards. But a lot of people are thinking, oh, it's only early in the year, I'm not taking my bike on the sand. If this had been later in the year, everybody would be using the bikes that they're ready to sell.
Yeah, well, I think the reason they have beach races at the end of the year because they don't duck bikes a lot of good. And salty water and sand and all that gets into all bearings. So at the beginning of the year, it's a new one on us, like, you know. So we'll just see how we go with it.
Well, here we are basking in Blackpool sunshine. There's a bit of a wind though, which is good. You don't want it too warm because then it's absolutely knackering out there and you get dehydrated. Now, I don't think any of the riders will be able to do the whole 2 hours in one go. They just haven't got the fuel capacity. It's going to be quite a fast course. The pits are just back there and that's where people pull in to refuel, maybe check tyre pressures if you're really good, wipe your goggles, try and get the sand out of your eyes. The good guys will probably stop once. People like me, sort of enthusiastic but useless, will probably stop about every 20 or 25 minutes for a slug of something cold and just to try and wipe the sand out all your orifices in your eyes. It's terrible.
The UK's most famous beach race is the Regency Enduro at Weston-super-Mare in Somerset. The 3-hour race covers a 4-mile course with jumps created out of scaffolding and sand, and the race attracts nearly 800 riders from all around the world.
But last year they certainly didn't have the sort of weather that we have. In fact, they had a bit of a nightmare and they had to postpone it until a week later when the eventual winner was me. No, actually that's a lie, it was David Knight. I did finish though, he did 4 times as many laps as I did.
The last Blackpool beach race took place 11 years ago and it was won by a chap called Eddie Sloan. Eddie's back this year to try and retain his title.
I always hope to win, but you need that bit of fortune, a bit of good luck, and yeah, we should do, yeah. I went to bed early last night, didn't have quite as much to drink. Basically got the bike ready like we always do, so we've got a lot of bike preparation, and you have to keep yourself reasonably fit, so just more of the same really. The course is really good, it's very, very fast, it's quite challenging, very, very fast straight, should be a good race, yeah.
A lot of riders are here for a bit of fun.
I got a free weekend from mountain biking and a lot of my friends were riding, so I just decided to come along with them, join in.
Well, I'm here today to race the Blackpool Beach race, and just have a bit of fun really out on the beach and do a bit of racing, see what happens, and hopefully for the best I'll win.
As the riders sign on, many of them compare notes and chat about technique.
Techniques, plenty of power. You've got to keep power on all the time. You can't shut off, even into corners. You've got to keep that power on. If front wheel sinks into that soft sand, you're straight over handlebars. It's, I mean, there's no dunes out here today to slow anybody down, so it should be a quick day today.
Because it's 2 hours here, I'll probably try and ride flat out all the time. Hopefully, no shutting off, hopefully. But in most beach races, they're 3 hours long, so you have to take it a bit more easy to pace yourself. But I'd like to think I'm fit enough now for 2 hours flat out.
Just put your number print and sign on there for me.
I think that the best thing is just to try and get out first out of the hole, and there's so many bikes out, and should just really get out. And you know, there's I think 200 bikes starting all at once, and really just to get out front and stay out front and just hope for the best and try and keep your pace up, because you really have to be fit to do so.
I haven't done that many of them, so I'm just going to go out there and do as many laps as I can, I suppose, but it'd be a good idea to get out in front so you don't get filled in too much by people.
Once the riders have signed on, they get their bikes scrutineered.
Scrutineering is basically making sure that the bike is fit for the event in safety. We're looking for wheel bearings, make sure there's no free play in it, spokes are tight, the brakes are working and suspension's correct, and the transponder, which will be recording their laps, is fitted correctly. Basically, if the bike's not safe to be ridden, then they'll be asked to return later on after repairing the bike. When they've scrutineered, we park it in Park Ferme, where they won't be allowed to touch the bike until the start of the event.
So you've arrived, you've had your bike scrutineered and you're ready to race, but the race hasn't started yet. What do? Well, you're in Blackpool. Why not take in the sights, the sounds and the smells?
From a small fishing village back in the 1820s, Blackpool has grown to become the sprawling, bustling, vibrant town that it is today. The brash and blousy Golden Mile offers seaside favourites like Blackpool Rock and Candy Floss, a place where silly hats and saucy t-shirts are de rigueur. The Golden Mile is also the slot machine capital of Britain. There's also the Pleasure Beach, the single biggest tourist attraction in Britain, with 6.5 million visitors every year. Back in the 18th century, Blackpool began as a small village with a great beach, and the beach is still a magnet for many people. A place to snooze away the sunny afternoons, a space for family fun and games. And of course you can't forget the Blackpool Tower, that world-famous Victorian landmark, recently restored to its former glory. And if all the candy floss and craziness of the promenade gets a bit too much for you, you can always head a couple of miles out of town to the Clifton Arms, a pub which welcomes bikers. It's near the windmill, everyone knows where the windmill is, and it's ideally placed for accessing the Trough of Bowland in that direction, or up there, the Lake District. Have you been in here? There are some great riding roads not so far from Blackpool. The A6 from Manchester to the Lake District is perennially popular. And not so far away, you've got the Trough of Bowland, Bolton by Bowland, Withnull, all those roads down there, absolutely fantastic. And one of my favourite routes is from North Manchester to Blackpool itself. Up to Bolton, go by the famous Riddington Barn and then over Belmont, absolutely belting. That's all for now, but don't go anywhere because after the break, the race starts.
Welcome back to Bike Shows UK with me, Steve Berry. This week we're in Blackpool for the Fowlers Blackpool Beach Race.
Due to tidal restrictions, the race won't start until 4 p.m. This leaves just 2 hours after the tide has gone out to actually set up the course.
Every time that tide goes out, there's different contours here, so little things that we planned a month ago, when we've come back and checked again, it's a non-starter because there's big water patches. And
Once the tide has actually gone out, the guys quickly get to work on the beach, marking out the course.
Roughly getting a 3-mile lap out of the stretch here. Using the piers, we're going to try and make it as technical as we can around there to slow the riders down. Like at Western, you can end up getting in tank-deep ruts. Here, I can't see that problem happening. Maybe under the piers, where the tight turns are, but the actual straights and the chicanes that we're going to have down here, they're going to hold out well.
With over 100 bikes in the race, it's important to make sure that the public are aware of restrictions, and there are up to 50 marshals actually patrolling the beach and the promenade. As the start of the race approaches, spectators begin to line the promenades. Many are excited by the prospect of seeing a race along the famous golden sands of Blackpool.
I think it's an excellent idea, and I think it's going to kick in a big time, and if it works well, we've got really nice weather. If it works well, I think Blackpool will be a good landmark for a lot of bikers to come and attend this beach race.
I think it'll be a good turnout. We've heard that the field is a full field of about 200 riders. There's quads, motocross riders, enduros. But then look, let's just see some good entertainment.
It's the first thing that I've ever seen in Blackpool, a beach race, yeah. It's to be interesting, yeah, a lot of fun, yeah, for the riders and for the watchers.
Good setting it, good nightlife last night, and then come and chill out on the beach today.
The course is set, the marshals ready. Steve Ireland signals to the riders to come down to the start line. There are nearly 150 riders on the beach, all raring to go. So keen to get going are many of them that they edge out a little further. And they're off. For the serious riders who want to win, a good start is absolutely essential. You need to get to the first corner as quickly as possible to avoid the pile-up. Once the solo riders clear the start, then it's the turn of the quads. The 3-mile course has been designed to provide not only a fast race, but a tough one as well. Riders require stamina, determination and a good, strong, reliable bike that can last the pace for the 2 gruelling hours. Right, well, about halfway through the race now, and the conditions, which we couldn't really predict, are becoming very difficult, especially for the quads. Because the race started slightly late, about 4:30, 25 past 4, we've actually got the tide coming back in again. And so on the straight, which follows the sea line, the bikes and the quads are finding it very difficult. The water's getting very deep. It looks like a real buzz, and some of the guys are wheeling all the way down the straight just for the sheer hell of it. But a lot of the quads are dropping out, and there are a lot of bikes out there stricken on the course. But hey, that's beach racing. There's a really high rate of attrition in beach racing. I mean, this year at Western they had something like 750 starters, less than 400 actually finished the race. So I think if we get about half finishing, then that's about par for the course, and what a testing course it is.
Carburettor sucked a load of water in. There's too much water out there, it's too deep. So it just won't start now. It'll start just for a few minutes, you go around 2 more bends and then it's the same again as soon as you go through the water.
So what are you going to do?
Well, just have to have a look at another way of covering the air filter over where it's sucking all the water in, but I'll be out of it now today, can't do it today.
Yeah, we had a bit of problem with the carburetor on the second lap. The top of the carburetor had come off, and fortunately we got a little bit of water and sand in there. But other than that, the bike ran good, and I think it's a great race. Wish I could stay out there and you know, have a bit of good competition. It looks like a good race today, so I look forward to coming back next year.
Came in for a fuel stop, turned it off, went to start it again, and it won't start now, basically because of the water. I've just got someone to go and get me some WD-40 and spray that on and see if that helps, but I can't really think of anything else to do now, it just doesn't want to go.
Well, I've come off a very big puddle down there and I'm soaked to the bone, so I'm having a little rest.
All riders that have entered the race must hold a current ACU competition licence. This year's race has been split into 4 categories: Expert, Clubman, Novice and Quads. The experts are the guys that are here to win. As the race draws to its close, the strain really begins to tell on both riders and their bikes. The 2 hours are up and Steve Ireland waves the checkered flag. Riders make their way up to the paddock, all tired, but believe me, feeling pretty exhilarating by what can only be described as 2 hours of sheer hell. I've been there. I've ridden 3 times at Western, and at the end of the race, you just feel, well, glad it's all over. So, at the end of a very busy and hectic day, it's time for the prize giving.
I know the quad guys found it especially difficult out there today. Very, very fast, very testing. In first place, he managed 26 laps. His best lap, 20.5 miles per hour. It's in first place, number 27 on the Raptor, Stephen Atkinson. Absolutely awesome, 32 laps, absolutely incredible. It's number 199 on the KTM 250, Sasha Akert. Can we have him up here, and can you lot please show in the due appreciation for a man who managed 32 laps of that incredible course out there.
For a full list of the results, you can check out Whirl Off-Road's website at the address on your screens now.
Well, that's it. It's been and gone. The race has run its course. We've all had a very long day, but it's been very rewarding, massively enjoyable. Join me again for another Bike Show UK very soon.